Chapter 1, Matter in Our Surroundings. As we look at our surroundings, we see a large variety of things with different shapes, size, and textures. Everything in this universe is made up of material which scientists have named matter. The air we breathe, the food we eat, stones, clouds, stars, plant, and animals. Even a small drop of water or a particle of sand, everything is matter. We can also see as we look around that all the things mentioned above occupy space and have mass. In other words, they have both mass and volume. Since early times, human beings have been trying to understand their surroundings. Early Indian philosophers classified matter in the form of 5 basic elements: the Panch Tattva, air, earth, fire, sky, and water. According to them, everything living or non-living was made up of these 5 basic elements. Ancient Greek philosophers had arrived at a similar classification of matter. Modern day scientists have evolved 2 types of classification of matter based on their physical properties and chemical nature. In this chapter, we shall learn about matters based on its physical properties, chemical aspect of the matter, which will be taken up in subsequent chapters. Let's start with 1.1, Physical nature of matter. Matter is made up of particles. For a long time, 2 schools of thought prevailed regarding the nature of matter. One school believed matter to be continuous like a block of wood, whereas the other thought that matter was made up of particles like sand. Let us perform an activity to decide about nature of matter. So we will find, is it continuous or particulate? The activity 1.1. Take 100 ml of beaker, fill half the beaker with water and mark the level of water. Dissolve some salt, sugar with the help of glass rod. Observe any change in the water level. What do you think was happened to the salt? Where does it disappear? Does the level of water change? In order to answer this question, we need to use the idea that matter is made up of particles. What was there in the spoon, salt or sugar, has now spread throughout water. Look at the illustrated figure 1.1. Okay, you can just pause the video and observe the illustration. Let's move. How small are these particles or the matter? Let's here see again another activity 1.2. Take 2 to 3 crystals of potassium permanganate and dissolve them in 100 ml of water. Take out approximately 100 ml of this solution and put it into 90 ml of clean water. Take out 10 ml of this solution and put it into another 90 ml of clear water. Keep diluting the solution like this 5 to 8 times. Is the water still colored? See the figure, pause the video. This experiment shows that just a few crystals of potassium permanganate can color a large volume of water, about 1000 liters. So we conclude that there must be millions of tiny particles in just one crystal of potassium permanganate, which keeps on dividing themselves into smaller and smaller particles. The same activity can be done using 2 ml of Dettol instead of potassium permanganate. The smell can be detected even one repeated dilution. The particles of matter are very small. They are small beyond our imagination. Let's move to 1.2, Characteristic of particles of matter. Particles of matter have space between them. Okay, let's see. In activities 1.1 and 1.2, we saw that particles of sugar, salt, Dettol, or potassium permanganate got evenly distributed in water. Similarly, when we make a tea, coffee, or lemonade like Nimbu Pani, particles of one type of matter get into the space between particles of other. This shows that there is enough space between particles of matter. Okay, now particles of matter are continuously moving. So we will look at the activity 1.3. Put an unlit incense stick, which is agarbatti, in a corner of your classroom. How close do you have to go near it so as to get its smell? Now light the incense stick. What happens? Do you get the smell sitting at a distance? Record your observation. Another activity 1.4. Take 2 glasses or beakers, fill with water. Put a drop of blue or red ink slowly and carefully along the sides of the first beaker and honey in the same way in the second beaker. Leave them undisturbed in your house or in a corner of the class. Record your observation. What do you observe immediately after adding the ink drop? What do you observe immediately after adding a honey drop? How many hours or days does it take for the color of ink to spread evenly throughout the water? Let's see another activity 1.5. Drop a crystal of copper sulfate or potassium permanganate into a glass of hot water and another containing cold water. Do not stir the solution. Allow the crystals to settle at the bottom. What do you observe just above the solid crystal in the glass? What happens as time passes? What does it suggest about the particles of solid and liquid? Does the rate of mixing change with temperature? Why and how? So we are going to conclude from the above three activities, 1.3, 1.4 and 1.5, we can conclude the following. Particles of matters are continuously moving. That is, they possess what we call the kinetic energy. As the temperature rises, particles move faster. So we can say that with increase in temperature, the kinetic energy of a particle also increases. In the above three activities, we observed that particles of matter intermix on their own with each other. They do so by getting into the spaces between the particles. This intermixing of particles of two different types of matter on their own is called diffusion. We also observe that on heating, diffusion becomes faster. Why does this happen? Okay, to know that, let's move to particles of matter attract each other. Okay, let's start with an activity. Play this game in the field. Make 4 groups and form human chain as suggested. The first group should hold each other from the back and lock arms like Idu Mishimi dancers, as in the figure. The second group of should hold hands to form human chain. The third group should form a chain by touching each other with only their fingertip. Now the fourth group of students should run around and try to break the 3 human chains one by one into as many small groups as possible. Which group was the easiest to break? If we consider each student as a particle of matter, then in which group the particle held each other with the maximum force? Okay, now let's move to another activity, which is 1.7. Take an iron nail, a piece of chalk and a rubber band. Try breaking them by hammering, cutting or stretching. In which of the above 3 substances do you think the particles are held together with greater force? Take some water in a container. Try cutting the surface of water with your fingers. Were you able to cut the surface of water? What could be the reason behind the surface of water remaining together? The above 3 activities, 1.6, 1.7 and 1.8, suggest that particles of matter have force acting between them. These forces keeps the particles together. The strength of these forces of attraction varies from one kind of matter to another. So these are the questions. Pause the video, check out the questions and try to answer it by yourself. So now let's move to 1.3, which is states of matter. Observe different types of matter around you. What are its different states? We can see that matter around us exists in 3 different states: solid, liquid and gas. These states of matter arise due to the variation in the characteristic of particles of matter. Now let us study about the properties of these 3 states of matter in detail. First, the solid state. Before that, let's discuss an activity. 1.9. Collect the following articles: a pen, a book, a needle, a piece of wooden stick. Sketch the shape of above articles in your notebook by moving a pencil around them. Do all these have a definite shape, distinct boundaries, and a fixed volume? What happens if they are hammered, pulled, or dropped? Are these capable of diffusing into each other? Try compressing them by applying force. Are you able to compress them? All the above are the examples of solids. We can observe that all these have a definite shape, distinct boundaries, and fixed volumes. That is, have negligible compressibility. Solids have a tendency to maintain their shape when subjected to outside force. Solids may break under force, but it is difficult to change their shape, so they are rigid. Consider the following. Okay, first, what about a rubber band? Can it change its shape or stretching? Is it a solid? Second, what about sugar and salt when kept in different jars? Take these the shape of jar. Are they solid? Third, what about a sponge? Is a solid, yet we are able to compress it? Why? All the above shapes are solids. Okay, a rubber band changes shapes under a force and regain the same shape when the force is removed. If excessive force is applied, it breaks. The shape of each individual sugar or salt crystal remain fixed, whether we take it in our hand, put it in a plate or in a jar. A sponge has a minute holes in which air is trapped. When we press it, the air is expelled out and we are able to compress it. Okay, we have discussed about the solid state. Now let's move to the liquid state. Before that, an activity 1.10. Collect the following, like water, cooking oil, milk, juice, a cold drink. Second, container of different shapes. Put a 50 ml mark on these containers using a measuring cylinder from the laboratory. What will happen if these liquids are split on the floor? Measure 50 ml of any liquid and transfer it into different container one by one. Does the volume remain the same? Does the shape of liquid remain the same? When you pour the liquid from one container to another, does it flow easily? We observe that liquids have no fixed shape but have a fixed volume. They take up the shape of container in which they are kept. Liquid flow and changes shape, so they are not rigid but can be called fluid. Refer to activity 1.4 and 1.5 where we have saw that solid and liquids can diffuse into liquids. The gases from the atmosphere diffuse and dissolve in water. These gases, especially oxygen and carbon dioxide, are essential for the survival of aquatic animals and plants. All living creatures need to breathe for survival. The aquatic animals can breathe underwater due to the presence of dissolved oxygen in water. Thus, we may conclude that solid, liquid, and gases can diffuse into liquids. The rate of diffusion of liquid is higher than that of solid. This is due to the fact that in the solid state, particles move freely and have greater space between each other as compared to particles of the solid state. So now let's move to the third matter, the gaseous state. If you have observed a balloon seller filling a large number of balloons from a single cylinder gas, inquire from him how many balloons is he able to fill from one cylinder. Ask him which gas does he have in the cylinder. Let's go through the activity 1.11. Take 300 ml syringes and close their nozzles by rubber cork as shown in figure. Remove the piston from all the syringes, leaving one syringe untouched. Fill water in the second and pieces of chalk in the third. Insert the pistons back into the syringes. You may apply some Vaseline on the piston before inserting them into the syringes for their smooth movement. Now try to compress the content by pushing the piston in each syringe. You can pause the video for the figure. What do you observe? In which case was the piston easily pushed? What do you infer from your observation? We have observed that gases are highly compressible as compared to solid and liquids. The liquefied petroleum gas LPG cylinder that we get in our home for cooking or the oxygen supplied to hospital in cylinder is compressed gases. Compressed natural gases CNG is used as fuel these days in vehicles. Due to its high compressibility, large volume of gas can be compressed into small cylinder and transported easily. We come to know of what is being cooked in the kitchen without even entering there by the smell that reaches our nostrils. How does this smell reaches? The particles of the aroma of food mixed with particles of air spread from the kitchen reaches us and even farther away. The smell of hot cooked food reaches us in second. Compare this with the rate of diffusion of solids and liquid. Due to high speed of particles and large space between them, gases show the property of diffusing very fast into other gases. In the gaseous state, the particles move about randomly at high speed. Due to this random movement, the particles hit each other and also the walls of container. The pressure exerted by the gas is because of this force exerted by gas particles per unit area on the walls of container. Pause the video for the figure. Can matter change its states? Okay, we all know from our observation that water can exist in three states of matter. Solid as ice, liquid as the familiar water, and gas as water vapor. What happens inside the matter during this change of state? What happens to the particles of matter during the change of states? How does this change of states takes place? We need to answer this question, isn't it? So to answer them, let's discuss effect of change of temperature. Before that, we'll discuss the activity first. Activity 1.12. Take about 150 gram of ice in a beaker and suspend a laboratory thermometer so that its bulb is in contact with the ice. Pause the video and observe the figure. So start heating the beaker on a low flame. Note the temperature when the ice starts melting. Note the temperature when all the ice has converted into water. Record your observations for this conversion of solid to liquid state. Now put a glass rod in the beaker and heat while stirring till the water starts boiling. Keep a careful eye on thermometer reading till most of the water has vaporized. Record your observation for the conversion of water in the liquid state to the gaseous state. On increasing the temperature of solid, the kinetic energy of the particle increases. Due to the increase in kinetic energy, the particle starts vibrating with a greater speed. The energy supplied by the heat outcomes the forces of attraction between the particles. The particles leave their fixed position and start moving more freely. A stage is reached when the solid melts and it converted into a liquid. The minimum temperature at which a solid melts to become a liquid at the atmospheric pressure is called its melting point. So the definition, the melting point of a solid is an indication of the strength of the force of attraction between its particle. The melting point of ice is 273.15 K. The process of melting, that is change of solid state into liquid state, is also known as fusion. When a solid melts, its temperature remains the same. So where does the heat energy go? You must have observed during the experiment of melting that the temperature of a system does not change after the melting point is reached. Till all the ice melt, this happens even though we continue to heat the beaker. That is, we continue to supply heat. This heat gets used up in changing the state by overcoming the forces of attraction between the particles. As this heat energy is absorbed by ice without showing up any rise in temperature, it is considered that it gets hidden into the contents of the beaker and is known as latent heat. The word latent heat means hidden. The amount of heat energy that is required to change 1 kilogram of a solid into liquid at atmospheric pressure at its melting point is known as the latent heat of fusion. So particles in water at 0 degrees Celsius, that is 273 Kelvin, have more energy as compared to particles in ice at the same temperature. When we supply heat energy to water, particles start moving even faster. At a certain temperature, a point is reached when the particles have enough energy to break free from the forces of attraction of each other. At this temperature, the liquid starts changing into gases. The temperature at which a liquid starts boiling at the atmospheric pressure is known as its boiling point. Boiling is a bulk phenomena. Particles from the bulk of the liquid gain through energy to change into vapor state. For water, this temperature is 373 Kelvin, that is 100 degrees Celsius, equals to 273 plus 100 equals 373 Kelvin. Can you define the latent heat of vaporization? Do it in the same way as we have defined the latent heat of fusion. Particles in steam, that is water vapor at 373 Kelvin, have more energy than water at same temperature. This is because particles in steam have absorbed extra energy in the form of latent heat of vaporization. Look at the figure, pause the video. So we infer that the state of matter can be changed into another state by changing the temperature. We have learned that substances around us changes state from solid to liquid and from liquid to gas on application of heat. But there are some that change directly from solid state to gaseous state and vice versa without changing into liquid state. Okay, let's go through an activity. Activity 1.13. Take some camphor, crush it and put it in a china dish. Put an inverted funnel over the china dish. Put a cotton plug on the stem of the funnel as shown in the figure. Pause the video, check out the figure. Now, heat slowly and observe. What do you infer from the above activity? A change of state directly from a solid to gas without changing into liquid state is called sublimation, and the direct change of gas to solid without changing into liquid is called deposition. Okay, let's now move to effect of change of pressure. We have already learned that the differences in various states of matter is due to the difference in the distances between the constituent particles. What will happen when we start putting pressure and compress a gas enclosed in a cylinder? Will the particles come closer? Do you think that increasing or decreasing the pressure can change the state of matter? Okay, pause the video and check out the figure. Applying pressure and reducing the temperature can liquefy gases. Have you heard of a solid carbon dioxide? It is stored under high pressure. Solid carbon dioxide get converted directly into gaseous state on decrease of pressure to 1 atmosphere without coming into liquid state. This is the reason that solid carbon dioxide is also known as dry ice. Thus, we can say that pressure and temperature determine the state of substance, whether it will be solid, liquid or gas. Check out the figure, pause the video. These are the questions, try to answer it by yourself. Pause. We'll discuss 1.5. Evaporation. Do we always need to heat or change pressure for changing the state of matter? Can you quote some examples from everyday life where change of state from liquid to vapor takes place without the liquid reaching the boiling point? Water, when left uncovered, slowly changes into vapor. Wet cloths dry up. What happens to water in the above two examples? We know that particles of matters are always moving and are never at rest. At a given temperature, in any gas, liquid or solid, there are particles with a different amount of kinetic energy. In the case of liquid, a small fraction of particles at the surface having higher kinetic energy is able to break away from the forces of attraction of other particles and gets converted into vapor. This phenomenon of change of liquid into vapors at any temperature below its boiling point is called evaporation. So now let's move on to the factors affecting evaporation. Let us understand this with an activity. Activity 1.14. Take 5 ml of water in a test tube and keep it near a window or under a fan. Take 5 ml of water in an open china dish and keep it near a window or under a fan. Take 5 ml of water in an open china dish and keep it inside a cupboard or on the shelf of your class. Record the room temperature. Record the time or days for the evaporation process in the above cases. Repeat the above 3 steps of the activity on a rainy day and record your observation. What do you infer about the effect of temperature, surface area, and wind velocity on evaporation? You must have observed that the rate of evaporation increase with an increase of surface area. We know that evaporation is a surface phenomena. If the surface area is increased, the rate of evaporation increases. For example, while putting clothes for drying up, we spread them out. An increase of temperature. More number of particles get enough kinetic energy to go into the vapor state. A decrease in humidity. Humidity is the amount of water vapor present in air. The air around us cannot hold more than a definite amount of water vapor at a given temperature. If the amount of water in air is already high, the rate of evaporation decreases and increase in wind in speed. It is common observation that clothes dry faster in a windy day. With that increase in wind speed, the particles of water vapor move away with the wind, decreasing the amount of water vapor in the surrounding. How does evaporation cause cooling? In an open vessel, the liquid keeps on evaporating. The particles of liquid absorb energy from the surrounding to regain the energy lost during the evaporation. This absorption of energy from the surrounding make the surrounding cold. What happens when you pour some acetone, which is nail polish remover, on your palm? The surrounding gain energy from your palm or surroundings and evaporate, causing the palm to feel cool. After a hot sunny day, people sprinkle water on the roof or open ground because the large latent heat of vaporization of water helps to cool the hot surface. Can you cite some more examples from daily life where we can feel the effect of cooling due to evaporation? Why should we wear cotton cloths in summer? During summer, we perspire more because of mechanism of our body which keeps us cool. We know that during evaporation, the particles at the surface of the liquid gain energy from the surrounding or body surface and change into vapor. The heat energy equal to the latent heat of vaporization is absorbed from the body, leaving the body cool. Cotton, being a good absorber of water, helps in absorbing the sweat and exposing it to the atmosphere for easy evaporation. Why do we see water droplets on the outer surface of glass containing ice cold water? Let us take some ice cold water in a tumbler. Soon we see water droplets on the outer surface of the tumbler. The water vapor present in air on coming in contact with the cold glass of water loses energy and gets converted to liquid state, which we can see as water droplets. These are some questions. Pause the video and try to answer this question by yourself. So let's summarize what we have learned. Matter is made up of small particles. Matter around us exists in 3 states, which is solid, liquid, and gas. The forces of attraction between the particles are maximum in solids, intermediate in liquids, and minimum in gases. The spaces in between the constituent particles and kinetic energy of the particles are minimum in case of solids, intermediate in liquid, and maximum in case of gas. The arrangement of particle is most ordered in case of solid. In case of liquid, layers of particles can slip and slide over each other, while for gases, there is no order. Particles just move about randomly. The states of matter are interconvertible. The states of matter can be changed by changing temperature or pressure. Sublimation is the change of solid state directly into gaseous state without going through liquid state. Deposition is the change of gaseous state directly to solid state without going through solid liquid state. Boiling is a bulk phenomena. Particles from the bulk or whole of the liquid change into vapor state. Evaporation is a surface phenomena. Particles from the surface gain enough energy to overcome the forces of attraction present in the liquid and change into vapor state. The rate of evaporation depends upon the surface area exposed to the atmosphere, the temperature, the humidity, and the wind speed. Evaporation causes cooling. Latent heat of vaporization is the heat energy required to change 1 kilogram of a liquid to gas at atmospheric pressure at its boiling point. Latent heat of fusion is the amount of heat energy required to change 1 kilogram of solid into liquid at its melting point. So these are some measurable quantities and their units to remember: temperature, which has the unit called Kelvin denoted by the symbol K. So pause the video and check out this unit. Okay, that's it for today.